It was giving total Disneyland dad vibes on this beautiful European vacation, ran us ragged. I tell you, we needed a vacation from our vacation. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Hey friends, welcome back to the Bucket List Retreats podcast. My name is Kelly Morgan Murley, and if you are new here, welcome. We talk all about retreats, from going on them as an attendee to putting them on as a retreat leader. I hope you're coming to the podcast for something to fill your time after our long Thanksgiving weekend. Today, I am starting with a chai. I hope you have something to drink. Normally on the podcast, I encourage you to put on your walking shoes or grab your laundry, get two things done at once. But today I encourage you to take a break, which maybe you're doing here after Thanksgiving. And it's the perfect time to sit back and listen to the podcast. We're going to talk all about the power of pause. Pause, not PAWS. I think I said that in the last episode and it cracked me up because really I would love to do a whole segment on the power of pause, PAWS. We love our animals, don't we? Today, we're going to get into something that might be the reason your last vacation wasn't as transformative as you would like. But first, I invite you to take a deep breath with me, and then we'll slowly let it out. All the way down, and then slower out. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful time. Even if you were on your own and made your own turkey, or maybe you're traveling, or maybe you got to go to a large group of people, a large family, that is always kind of ideal, isn't it? I know that didn't work out for our family this year. We are scattered to the wind. So it was just my husband, myself, and my mom and her husband were able to come. So that was nice. They are 84 and live a couple hours away. But if it had been snowing, we wouldn't have wanted them to do the drive. But it's sunny and beautiful. So it worked out perfectly. All of us are traveling around. I had one of my very best traveling friends coming through our area on her way to see her brother, stop and stay the night. It is so great when that happens. We got a chance to reconnect, and we have been traveling. We met traveling on a retreat in Taos, New Mexico, a writer's retreat with Jen Loudon in 2008, and we have been great friends ever since. She's such a wonderful world traveler, has a beautiful goal of going on these epic hikes every year on her birthday. And this year she went to hike Kilimanjaro, and sadly she got COVID on the way there and did not get to go on the hike after all those months of planning. Can you imagine her disappointment? Well, she did a really good job of getting herself well while she waited for the rest of the group to make it to the top and back, and then carried on and was able to enjoy a fantastic rest of her trip while taking great pauses, just like in our episode that we're talking about. So if you don't want to get sick, my best advice is to put a mask on those long haul trips. Today is Black Friday, and you might be shuffling through all of the offers online while you're listening, and that is totally fine. I will offer a few things at the end of the podcast that we have at our Etsy store and on our shop that might be really great gifts for the retreater, the traveler, explorer, or adventurer on your Christmas list. And now, of course, we get to turn on the Christmas music and decorate and no one will really give us a hard time. There's always those people that don't like you to decorate before Thanksgiving, but with Thanksgiving being on the last Thursday of the month, we really had to put that off. I mean, sometimes we were 2 weeks into decorations, right? Our little town did put up their decorations last week, and I am going to hop on that, turn on my Christmas music, and get the house all Christmassy. I can't wait to join in. Right now, it really is like retreat season big time. A lot of us are planning our retreats that we're going on. I'm going to go to the Dominican Republic as a attendee on a retreat in the early part of December. I'm going to take all of you along on the socials, so be sure to sign up to all of our socials. So if you want to see if that is somewhere that you want to go to and possibly take your group to, it is at an eco retreat center in the Dominican Republic or in the Dominican or in the DR. Tell me, have you been there before? I have never been there. I have not been to that side of the Caribbean. I have been to Cancun, Cozumel, Tulum, and even down into Belize, but not out in, near Jamaica or Haiti or even the Bahamas. I haven't been out to the edge of the Caribbean. So I'm really looking forward to it. The retreat center looks absolutely beautiful. It is so fun being on the attendee side of the retreating because I get to see and feel again all of the things that I am asking of attendees who I'm asking to come on my retreats, what they feel. So I'm waiting for all of the travel information. I'm waiting for all of the excursion information. And uh, because we are going to a different country, we have to look at visas. And then, of course, you have to deal with your flights. And I'm using my miles, like I always talk about. It makes retreating so nice and affordable. So if that is something you're looking into, you want to learn about miles and points, I always point everyone to the Daily Drop, and I will have a link to them in the show notes. They have a really great deal going on this weekend, and it's $50 off. It's usually $149 a year. This gives it to you for $99 your first year. You get a t-shirt that you get to pick which airport, but it has the design of the airport on the back of the shirt. And that's just a byproduct, really. They offer so much when you sign up and you start to use your miles. So when you start using your miles, you need to find the best flights, and that is what they're really good at. They even have a number that you can call and have them actually help you find the best flights for the miles that you have. So getting your miles is one part of miles and points, but spending them wisely, it's a really important side of miles and points. But the payoff is so huge. So for my flight round trip to the Dominican Republic, I used my points, and I don't have to add that to my costs when I'm planning on going down there. And then, of course, we are in the thick of all of the planning for our Southeast Asia getaway. It is a huge trip, 18 days through Vietnam, Cambodia, and we're ending up in Thailand. And really, if you wanted to explore Thailand, you would want to stay there. But if you are retired and you have the time, and especially if you have miles, this is a very reasonable trip with a bunch of travelers who are going to make it a lot easier on you. And we are hitting every spot that is on the must-see, on your bucket list places. So the first night we all meet in Hanoi, and the next morning we get up and we head to Halong Bay, where we board our boat and stay on that boat where they feed us breakfast, lunch, and dinner as we spend the night on beautiful Halong Bay. And then we head to the train station where we are taking an overnight train down through the south of Vietnam to the city of Hue. The goal is to see and taste our way all the way through Vietnam. We even have an English-speaking guide traveling with us on spacious minivans. So I am getting all ready for this trip to the Dominican Republic. I have started applying my suntan cream on my legs and arms so I don't shine like a diamond when I get there. And I've even started planning out my outfits. Started auditioning, hey, what do I want to bring? Because I want to go as lightweight and as absolutely cute as possible. That is always the goal. So a rolling carry-on and a backpack for me. And then inside of there, I will have another day pack and my crossbody. That is my ideal way of travel. I can usually fit in all of the souvenirs that I buy in those two items. I try to keep those very minimal or ship them home. Sometimes if I have to check my bag on the way home, that opens up space to carry something that's, a treasure that you had to have. But first, before we get into ways to add pause to your trips or getaways, let's look into those retreat news and reviews. Today, when I typed in retreat news, I had a really interesting article pop up. We are going to check out this article by Debbie Gonzalez, Canada. She gives a really great story about wanting to go on retreat, but not really knowing what she was signing up for and if it was a good thing to do in the right timing. And I found this really interesting because just this week in one of my retreat groups, there was an attendee looking for a retreat, but she had recently been on a retreat and she didn't receive all of the promises of the changes and the transformations that she expected and was promised. And this author talks about the same thing in her beautiful story in this article. Let me share portions of it with you. And the title of her story is, Do Luxe Skill Building Retreats Really Work? I joined one in Morocco to find out. And this, like I said, just came out yesterday in the modern matadornetwork.com. I'll put a link, of course, in the show notes. Have you ever felt stuck and knew something and needed to change to live a fuller life? Or perhaps a project that you've been wanting to start, but you don't know where to begin? Sometimes I've wished I had the ability to take a quick pause from daily life to really think about what I want for my future and what I need to change to get there. Girl, we are talking about pause just today. We totally get it. That was me 3 months ago. I just finished my PhD and moved to Spain, and I felt stuck, not knowing what steps to take. Though I had done individual therapy sessions for years, tried different forms of alternative healing, and tasted the power of solo travel for self-awareness, I still wasn't sure what I needed to do next. Basically, I felt like I didn't know who I wanted to be now that my schooling was done. We all run into those types of crossroads in our lives, don't we? So let's go on. She says, so when I met Elise Madrick, the CEO and facilitator of Serene and Serene Experiences, and she told me about its upcoming trip to Morocco designed for anyone in the midst of transition who is ready to tap into their unleashed hidden potential. I bought a ticket. Serene's promise, according to its website, is to offer insights that transform your perspective and give participants a new blueprint for living your life. Big promises, right? I still wasn't sure exactly what I was signing up for and had hesitations around group self-discovery trips. It seems to be an oxymoron, like two different things, group and then self-discovery, but okay. But I jumped on the opportunity anyways. I felt a trusting connection with Matrix and loved the idea of a pause to force me to focus on my goals and figure out what I wanted. And even better was the fact that I would be at a palm tree and sun-infused pause. Yes, that just sounds beautiful. We all understand that. Then she goes on to give some really amazing statistics that we have actually been talking about here on the podcast, but I wanted to share them all with you to really emphasize the growth of retreating and taking care of yourself. I'm so proud of this generation for hopping on this bandwagon. She goes on to say, health, wellness, and self-transformation retreats sit inside the fast-growing wellness tourism sector, which was valued at about $650 billion in 2022. By 2024, that number rose to $895 billion. I wonder, is that worldwide? Let's see here. Specifically, the global wellness retreat market was valued at 180.5 billion in 2022, but projected to nearly double to 363.9 billion by 2032. Depending on your source, yoga retreats alone are a $10 billion industry as of 2024. It's hard to pinpoint exactly why this sector, with all its diverse offerings, is growing so quickly, but it's likely tied to post-pandemic emphasis of health and wellness, plus growing concerns about burnout and work-life balance. Wellness retreat operators in the U.S. reported increases of up to 30% in bookings in the last year, and in 2022, a survey of wellness tour operators found that many were increasing their group sizes in response to increased demand. But here she asks the question that the person in my retreat group asks. With all that data in mind, I was curious to see if these retreats really lead to measurable benefits. The category of retreats as they relate to health and personal development is a broad one, and there aren't too many studies out there on whether they lead to real results. However, a few studies that do exist suggest they could lead to positive change. A 2017 report focused mostly on physical health retreats found that participants reported positive changes 6 weeks after returning from a program. And in 2023, a study found that most participants felt happier after returning from a retreat, with guests who had specific pain issues also reporting physical improvements. And she goes on to say, but as a social researcher, I knew that self-reported metrics of happiness aren't always the most reliable. It's one of the major reasons I decided to give Serenade program a try, not just because the program itself, but because I was curious whether self-transformation retreats really can be the life-changing boost so many attendees seem to experience. And I won't go on to read every bit of the article. I will put the link in the show notes so you can read her whole story because it's really quite interesting. She goes on to talk about all of the things that they do on the retreat, including role playing to learn what they're learning exactly and how to use it in their lives. But what she loved about this retreat the most is that they taught about keeping everything that you're learning going after the retreat and had ways to do that. I think if you're running retreats, it's a really good read. It's going to give you some amazing insights from both the retreat attendee side. She said, after 1 week in Morocco, we were able to recognize our stories and mindsets, change the ones not serving us, such as, I can't cook, or I am not a morning person, or I am not a leader, then plan exactly how to change habits to change ourselves. Being in a new place with 24/7 facilitators and a group of people going through similar learning processes made us more open and susceptible to trying different things, including different versions of ourselves. Isn't that the truth while traveling? You just feel a real freedom to be yourself. So just like Debbie was talking about in the article, the power of the pause is such a great tool in your tool belt for your whole entire life. The power of the pause, those quiet moments when you actually are taking a breath between experiences. It's really the stillness in travel that people completely forget. And it's often exactly where transformation happens. So in today's episode, don't just go, grow. The power of stillness in travel. Because yes, you can cram 12 things into your itinerary on a day of travel, but what is it you actually remember the most? It's that coffee shop on the corner with that beautiful cup of espresso, people watching people you haven't seen before. Those are the moments you remember. You know that style of travel when you are just jam-packed with so much to see that you had just got to go, go, go from the moment you get there. Believe me, in the Southeast Asia getaway that we are planning right now, it is so easy to over plan the day. So we are consciously working in to pauses on the trip. We don't want to miss those coffee shops, the old town and the food hot spots that are all over Instagram. And you definitely want to take some Instagram photos while you're there. And listen, I've done it. I planned retreats since 2013 with bucket list retreats and several girl trips and book club trips before that. And I love an agenda. I love an agenda with a list. But here's what I've learned guiding hundreds of travelers and through training that growth doesn't happen in a rush. It just doesn't. It happens in the reflection. And we were just talking about that in last week's episode, but it is so true. The pause between experiences is what makes it happen. And getting to know the people that you're traveling with and discussing the experience that you went through really helps with that transformation. And you start realizing that, yes, you are getting self-help in a group atmosphere. What does the pause look like? It isn't about being lazy. It's about being present. For me on retreat, it might be taking an extra 20 minutes before I meet the group in the morning to really ground myself in the joy of what the day is about to unfold. For the group, it might be sitting alongside a river after going to a bustling marketplace to just let everything sink in. And of course, I always suggest a travel journal, writing in your travel journal on the plane before you go, that first night, or just jotting down little notes as you go will really help you hone in on the experiences that made this trip transformational. The transformation doesn't really require effort so much as it requires time. It is really hard. We live in such a go, go, go atmosphere. There are plans so that we can go achieve and then share what we've done. Even on vacation, we are pressured to make the most of it. But what if we redefine what actually the most of it is? Because honestly, you will not remember when the boat left. This brings to mind a memory of mine when we were in Morocco. Our group guide was just absolutely dedicated to every desire that we had, everything that we wanted to do. And one of the retreat attendees wanted to have, okay, you may not want to hear this, but a goat head tagine. And our guide organized that with his own family. We literally went to their house and his mother put on a beautiful spread for our group only. It was a beautiful, authentic event that happened at our retreat that wasn't on the schedule. Sure, we had lunch scheduled, but we didn't know it was going to be this beautiful homemade meal by our retreat leaders. It was so perfect for our group, but it did put us a bit behind. We had a little bit more of a road trip before we headed by foot up the Atlas Mountains to the gîte that we were staying in. And it was a little bit late, but there was a donkey already there waiting for us to carry up the luggage that we needed. We didn't bring all of our luggage on this overnight. I think actually on this 2 nights up in the top of the Atlas Mountains, and the donkey could carry all of our backpacks, basically. A few of us had still day packs on our backs, but we started walking up, and before you knew it, it was absolutely dark. But here came this amazing full moon. I didn't even have it on the retreat, which I usually do have some sort of a full moon ceremony, but I tell you, I didn't need one because we were walking alongside this river, and in certain spots of the river, we had to cross the river, jumping from rock to rock, and it was a moment that I guarantee you none of the retreat attendees will ever forget. Hiking up into the beautiful Atlas Mountains by moonlight, crossing rivers and getting our our gîte where they had a wonderful, authentic Moroccan meal waiting for us. It was so perfect. Even though we were late, we didn't intend to be walking at night or in the dark. It was fine. Everything was fine. And we all had one of the greatest experiences, I think, of our lives. It was a moment where I truly felt the power of the pause because on this getaway in Morocco, we had been going, going, going. We had seen a lot and done a lot of things, but this was meant to be our 2 days of pause once we got up to this beautiful retreat center high up in the Atlas Mountains. I wanted to share with you a few ideas that you can do every single day to build in the power of pause to your daily activities. The first is really hard for me, but it is something I have started to do. I'll tell you why, but it is to take the first 15 minutes of your day completely tech or screen free. Personally, I am so bad about jumping up and grabbing my phone or diving into personal things like your bank account, things I just like to keep an eye on things. I'm all over it. Hey, can we just take a deep breath and say good morning? Good morning. Make our coffee with intention. Think about our bodies, how we're doing, how are we feeling. Just 15 minutes of tech free is such a great way to start your day with a pause. Another thing that I like to do is to take a journal or even an intention, a thought with you on your walk. I have a friend that does marathons, and she said that she would think about a different person for each and every mile. I always loved that. What a great idea. And you can do that yourself while you're writing in your journal or while you're on your walk. And if you can, block retreat time every single day. If you don't have something specific, self-help type thing like a yoga class to go to, who cares? Don't put anything in that spot. That is when the transformation is going to happen. It's going to leave time for you to think about the things that you need to think about. And if you can work in a 20-minute pause at the end of the day, once again, with no tech, no phones, no plans, no anything, that is another great way to settle that nervous system and get in a place where you need to be before you're relaxing and going to bed. Think about adding a few of those into your daily routine and start to think about what you're rushing past. And then apply those things to your getaways, to your trips, to your events, to your presentations at work. What if, what are we rushing past? What pause do I need to take in this moment that will let a beautiful transformation happen? I remember so many wonderful pauses on my trips. And truly, what I think about are the walks on those beaches in the early morning all by myself are my, are my absolute favorite memories of being there. I miss it so much. Thanks for being here today. If you have a pause that you remember you would like to share in the comments, I would love to hear all about it. And if you have someone that you are working on a trip with and they are doing a ton of over planning, maybe send this to them. It's a little wake up call to say, hey, let's be sure to plan some time for fun, pause, and transformation. As promised, I thought I would just mention if you are looking for a gift for the traveler in your life, a retreat leader, or anyone with a bit of wanderlust, run on over to bucketlistretreats.etsy.com. We have some really great gifts and we do custom. Let us know if there is anything specific you would like. Some of the favorite things of the season, of course, are the ornaments, the t-shirts, long sleeve and short, the sweatshirts and totes, and my favorites, the travel mugs, because you can use them for anything: water, coffee, tea, wine, whatever. Thank you again for being here. And if you did enjoy the show, we would really appreciate a like or a follow on Spotify. It really lets them know, hey, we are here to talk about retreats. We want to know everything about it. And next week, we are talking all about gifts for travelers, whether they are a retreater or someone that just has so much wanderlust in their life, it's hard to buy for them. It's going to be fun. It's going to be practical. And yes, I have added a couple of things in there that are on my personal wish list, or as I like to call it, shop like a retreat leader, not sponsored. Okay, everyone, have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next week. Until then, keep retreating, keep exploring, and we'll see you on the next adventure. Bye-bye.